Empath Chosen Ones, your pain was preparing you to heal others. There comes a time in every empath's life where the weight of their own emotions, the chaos of the world, and the deep ache of their soul becomes too loud to ignore. Maybe you're in that space now. Maybe you've struggled to make sense of why you feel so much, why you seem to carry invisible burdens that others can't see, and why your life has been marked by so much pain, rejection, misunderstanding, and emotional depth. But I want you to hear this not with your ears, but with your heart. Your pain was not punishment. It was preparation. You were not sent here to conform. You were sent here to feel what others cannot, to see what others refuse to, and to become something this world desperately needs: a healer forged in fire. When I say empath chosen ones, I am not speaking in metaphor. I mean exactly what it sounds like. You were chosen by the universe, by your own higher self, to walk a path of profound emotional depth so that you could become a guide through the darkness for others. But that path is not easy, and it never was supposed to be, because transformation never is. From the moment you were born, your soul began collecting experiences not to break you, but to awaken you. The betrayal from people you trusted wasn't meant to harden you. It was there to crack the shell around your heart so that your compassion could become boundless. The isolation you felt in your family or your social circles wasn't to make you feel unloved. It was to drive you inward, to discover a divine connection that no one could take from you. The anxiety, the depression, the nights you questioned your worth, those were spiritual initiations, not symptoms of weakness. Have you ever wondered why you have such a deep ability to comfort others, to hold space for someone in their darkest moments, to intuitively know what people need without them saying a word? It's not because you were born lucky. It's because you've lived through what they're living through. Empathy is not inherited, it's earned through experience, and yours came through fire.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
You see, the world doesn't understand empaths because the world is still asleep to its own pain. Most people have developed layers of armor to avoid feeling. They numb themselves with distractions, achievements, substances, or empty relationships. But you were born without armor. You were born with a spiritual nervous system so sensitive that you could feel what others suppressed. And for a long time, you might have thought something was wrong with you. You might have tried to toughen up, to hide your tears, to pretend you didn't care. But the truth is, you were never meant to be like them. You were never meant to be numb. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is your genius. It is your divine assignment. And yes, it means you will feel pain more deeply. But it also means you have the capacity to love more fully, to understand more profoundly, and to heal more powerfully. Let's go deeper. Have you ever noticed how people are drawn to you when they're in pain? How they pour their stories into your heart like it's a sacred bowl? That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Your soul carries a frequency of safety, of understanding, of non-judgment. And people feel it. Even if they can't explain it, they know it. But here's the hard truth: carrying other people's pain is not your job. Transmuting it is. As empaths, we often become emotional sponge, absorbing the weight of the world and then wondering why we feel so exhausted, anxious, or lost. But the universe didn't send you here to drown in other people's wounds. You were sent to alchemize them, to feel them, yes, but then to transform them through love, wisdom, and presence into something sacred. That is your gift. That is your responsibility. And that's why your pain was necessary. Because had you not walked through the valley of shadows, you would not know how to navigate it. The people you are meant to help, they don't need someone who's read all the books or recites spiritual quotes. They need someone who has been there, someone who knows, and you do. Whether you realize it or not, every wound you've endured has become a map. Every scar is a compass. Every heartbreak, a portal to deeper compassion. You are the living proof that healing is possible. But before you can fully step into your role as a healer, you must do something radical. You must stop rejecting your pain. You must stop wishing it never happened. You must stop seeing yourself as damaged and start seeing yourself as initiated. Because the truth is, your pain is what made you holy. Now let me ask you something, a question so deep it might echo in you for days. What if the very thing you've been trying to hide, the part of you that feels too broken, too sensitive, too much, is actually the reason you were chosen? What if your deepest wound is also your greatest medicine? You see, we live in a culture that teaches us to run from discomfort, to silence our emotions, and to present a polished version of ourselves to the world. But healing doesn't happen in perfection. Healing happens in truth. And your truth is sacred. Stop editing yourself to make other people comfortable. Stop shrinking so others won't feel small next to your light. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out, not in ego, but in essence. But let's not romanticize this journey. Being an empath is exhausting. It's waking up feeling emotions that aren't yours. It's crying for someone else's pain. It's being misunderstood by your own family. It's walking into a room and feeling the tension no one is speaking about. It's sensing dishonesty in someone's smile. And yet, despite all this, you keep going. You keep showing up. You keep loving, even when it hurts. Do you realize how powerful that is? That's not fragility. That's spiritual strength. That is divine resilience. The fact that you still care after everything you've been through is proof that you are not weak. You are legendary. But now is the time to evolve. You can't just keep absorbing. You must learn to channel. You must create boundaries, not walls, but sacred containers. You must learn to ground yourself, to clear your energy, to protect your spirit. Because if you do not protect your gift, the world will consume it. You were not meant to be a martyr. You were meant to be a light. And a light must be protected if it is to shine bright. So practice self-care like it's a spiritual ritual. Breathe. Journal. Meditate. Spend time in nature. Cleanse your space. Speak to your ancestors. Dance. Cry. Rest. Not because it's trendy, but because your soul demands it. Self-care for an empath is not luxury, it's survival. And more than that, it's preparation. Because the more you heal, the more your presence becomes healing to others. And finally, share your story. Your vulnerability is sacred. Your truth is not shameful, it is luminous. When you speak your story, you don't just free yourself, you free others. You become a mirror in which others can see their own healing potential. When you stop hiding who you are, you give others permission to do the same. That is how healing spreads. That is how empaths become leaders, not through control, but through authenticity. Not through force, but through presence. So if you've ever wondered why your life has been so hard, why you felt so different, why you've been hurt so many times, it's because your soul chose this mission. You came here to awaken. You came here to break cycles. You came here to feel what others refuse to feel, and in doing so, to liberate them. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be a catalyst for evolution. And that means being misunderstood. That means walking alone sometimes. But you are never truly alone. The universe walks with you. Your ancestors walk with you. And every soul you are meant to heal is already calling out to you. You are not just an empath. You are a healer. You are a bridge between worlds. You are the light in the dark. And your pain was never in vain. It was sacred training. Now, it's time to rise. Empath Chosen Ones, your pain was preparing you to heal others. There's a moment in every empath's life when they begin to realize that the world isn't just happening to them, it's happening through them. That the people you meet, the situations you face, the triggers you encounter are not random, they're reflections, mirrors. And as painful as that realization might be at first, it becomes the doorway to one of the most profound spiritual insights you will ever experience. The world is your teacher, and your triggers are your curriculum. As empaths, we don't merely observe the world, we feel it deeply. We absorb the energies, the unspoken emotions, the hidden pain of others. And when we are unconscious of this ability, it overwhelms us. But when we awaken to it, when we begin to understand that every emotional charge has a message, every trigger has a lesson, then our lives begin to shift from chaos to clarity. Have you ever wondered why certain people irritate you more than others, even when they haven't done anything overtly wrong? Why some situations, even mundane ones, make your skin crawl or your heart race? It's because they're touching something inside of you that has not yet been healed, acknowledged, or integrated. The trigger is not the enemy, it is the messenger. When you are triggered, emotionally activated by someone's words, actions, or even their energy, it is often not about them at all. It is about what they are reflecting back to you. They are showing you something that still lives within you, often in shadow. Maybe it's unprocessed grief. Maybe it's a buried belief that you are not enough. Maybe it's a childhood wound of abandonment or betrayal. Whatever it is, it gets stirred up not so you can suffer, but so you can see. And only when you see it can you heal it. This is the sacred mirror. And for empaths, this mirror is everywhere. Because our souls are wired for truth. We cannot tolerate what is fake, inauthentic, or misaligned, not without feeling it in our bodies, in our hearts. But this gift comes with responsibility. We can't just point fingers at the world and say, they're toxic. We must look within and ask, what is this showing me about me? That is where the real healing begins. This level of self-honesty is not easy. It requires courage. It requires humility. Because it means that every external experience is also an invitation to go within. It means taking radical responsibility for your emotional landscape. And most people don't want to do that. They'd rather blame, deflect, distract. But you, the empath, the chosen one, you are not most people. You were born to awaken. And awakening means facing the uncomfortable truths that most run from. You cannot heal what you will not face. You cannot transform what you refuse to feel. So when someone triggers you, pause. Breathe. Don't react. Ask yourself, where in me does this live? Maybe their arrogance reminds you of a parent who never saw you. Maybe their coldness activates your fear of being unworthy. Maybe their chaos is a reflection of your own inner instability. Whatever it is, let it surface. Let it speak. Then hold it with compassion. That's the work. That's the alchemy. And let's talk about projection, because this is one of the most powerful and misunderstood dynamics in the empath's journey. We all project consciously or unconsciously our internal world onto others. If we carry unhealed wounds, we will see them everywhere. If we believe we are unlovable, we will interpret neutral actions as rejection. If we carry shame, we will assume others are judging us. But once you become aware of this, you can begin to reclaim your power. You can stop letting the outer world dictate your inner world. You can choose to respond with awareness instead of reacting from pain. And this is where true emotional sovereignty begins. You stop being a victim of your environment. You become the observer, the healer, the alchemist. But it's not just about healing your own triggers. As an empath, part of your soul's mission is to help others awaken to their own inner mirrors. Not by preaching, not by fixing, but by embodying what healing looks like. When you do your inner work, when you integrate your shadows, when you learn to sit with your pain instead of running from it, you become a living transmission of truth. People feel it. They may not understand it consciously, but something in them shifts. That is the power of presence. That is the medicine of the healed empath. You don't need to say much. You just need to be. But here's where it gets even deeper. Many empaths are deeply triggered by the suffering of the world, the cruelty, the injustice, the apathy. It feels unbearable. And that's because on a soul level, you remember a different way of being. You remember unity. You remember love. You remember what it feels like to live in harmony with the earth, with spirit, with each other. So when you witness violence, greed, or disconnection, it's not just painful, it's a spiritual grief. But even this is part of your training. You were meant to feel it, because only those who feel can truly change the world. But you must alchemize that grief. You must let it move through you, not consume you. Because if you drown in the sorrow of the world, you cannot be the light that dispels it. So how do you do that? You ground yourself. You create sacred rituals. You cleanse your energy. You surround yourself with beauty, with truth, with soul family. You connect with the earth. You meditate. You pray. You cry when you need to. You scream if you must. Emotion must move. Energy must flow. You can't heal if you're holding it all inside. And you definitely can't hold space for others if your own space is filled with unprocessed pain. This is why self-care is not optional for empaths. It is spiritual discipline. And beyond that, it is your lifeline. You must also learn discernment. Not everyone who comes to you is ready to heal. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Being an empath doesn't mean being everyone's emotional sponge. You are not here to save people. You are here to inspire them to save themselves. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. Sometimes healing means walking away. Sometimes it means protecting your peace at all costs. And that's okay. You are not abandoning anyone by choosing yourself. You are modeling what healthy boundaries look like. And that is healing too. Let me ask you this. What would change in your life if you saw every trigger not as a threat, but as a teacher? What if you stopped avoiding discomfort and started listening to it? What if every emotional charge was actually a sacred knock at the door of your awareness, asking you to awaken a little more? Would you open that door? Would you let the wisdom in? Because that's what this journey is about. Not perfection, not constant bliss, but radical self-awareness, deep emotional honesty, and the willingness to keep growing even when it's hard. You are a mirror, my friend, a sacred one. And the more you clean your own reflection, the more clearly others will see themselves in you. That is how you heal the world, not by force, but by frequency. Not by control, but by clarity. And as you continue to walk this path, as you continue to face your triggers, to integrate your shadows, to reclaim your power, you will become unstoppable. Not because you never feel pain, but because you no longer fear it. You know what to do with it. You've made peace with the mirror. And now, you are ready to help others do the same. Empath Chosen Ones, your pain was preparing you to heal others. There comes a moment in the life of every awakened empath where the suffering, the solitude, and the soul-searching begin to make sense, not as a series of unfortunate events, but as the precise ingredients of transformation. You begin to realize that your life, every wound, every loss, every breakdown was not just random chaos. It was a sacred initiation. And now, the echoes of your past no longer haunt you, they guide you. They become the blueprint for your purpose. Because your pain, when integrated, becomes your wisdom. And your wisdom, when shared, becomes your light. And that light, when embodied, becomes healing for others. This is what it means to be a chosen one, not chosen above others, not chosen because you are special in the egoic sense, but chosen by the soul, by the cosmos, by your own divine essence to be a vessel for healing, to be a midwife for the birth of a new earth. And that earth is not somewhere far away, it begins inside your heart. It begins when you stop waiting for the world to change and realize that you are the change. Turning wounds into wisdom is not a poetic metaphor. It is a daily, gritty, sacred process. It means sitting with your pain until it no longer controls you. It means asking your suffering what it came to teach you. It means forgiving not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. It means allowing grief to move through you like a river, trusting that it will carve a deeper space inside you for love. And then, from that space, you begin to share your light. Not from a need to be seen, but from a knowing that your story, your presence, your energy is medicine. You begin to walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere not because you're trying, but because you've become the embodiment of healing. You stop seeking validation and start radiating truth. You stop performing and start being. And in your being, Others find permission to be themselves. That is what true healing looks like. It's contagious. It's silent. It's powerful beyond measure. As empaths, we are now being called to step into this light more fully than ever before. The world is in a spiritual drought. People are thirsty for authenticity, for compassion, for connection. But they don't just need more information, they need transformation. And transformation can't be taught. It must be transmitted through presence, through energy, through example. That means we must become the healing we wish to see in others. We must live our truth so clearly that it becomes a lighthouse for others lost in the fog. That starts with radical self-love. Not the surface kind, not the kind you post about, but the kind that holds your inner child when she's scared, the kind that forgives your past selves, the kind that says, "Even now, I am enough." Because when you love yourself like that, you become a safe space for others to do the same. You no longer need to be perfect. You just need to be real. And realness is rare. Realness is revolutionary. But here's the deeper truth: your healing is not just for you. Every time you choose love over fear, every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, every time you choose truth over comfort, you shift the collective frequency. You begin to create ripples that move far beyond your personal life. You begin to heal ancestral wounds. You begin to rewrite the future. And this, my friend, is what it means to create a new earth. Not a utopia in the clouds, but a world grounded in empathy, in presence, in truth. A world where children are taught emotional intelligence as much as math. A world where vulnerability is seen as strength. A world where we remember that we belong to each other. And yes, it starts with you, with your decision to no longer run from pain, with your decision to make your life a vessel for love. Let me ask you this: what would the world look like if every empath fully owned their power? If we stopped hiding, stopped shrinking, stopped apologizing for our sensitivity? What if we stopped waiting for permission and started living as if our lives were the medicine the world needs because they are? Imagine what would happen if each of us lit our candle and walked into the darkness without fear. Imagine the collective light we would create. That is the new earth. And it is not a dream, it is a choice. A daily choice to show up, to feel deeply, to love fiercely, and to speak truthfully. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. And yes, there will be moments where the old pain surfaces, where doubt creeps in, where the world feels too heavy. But those moments are not setbacks, they are reminders. Reminders that you are still human, still growing, still becoming. So be gentle with yourself. Be patient. The healer must also be healed. You are not here to save the world alone. You are here to be part of the rising, part of the remembering. And every step you take toward wholeness is a step for all of us. Because we are connected. We are one body, one breath, one collective soul waking up from a long sleep. And you, dear empath, are one of the first to rise. That is why your life has been so intense. That is why your heart is so tender. Because you were never meant to sleep through this life. You were meant to feel it, all of it, so you could help others feel again, so you could help them come home to themselves. This is the mission. This is the path. not to escape the world, but to transform it one healed heart at a time. And you are part of that transformation. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not too sensitive. You are finely tuned. You are not lost. You are being guided. And now more than ever, the world needs your light pure, unfiltered, unapologetic. So let it shine, not because you want attention, but because you can no longer dim it. Let it shine because you remember now who you are. Let it shine because you've made peace with your past, you've embraced your sensitivity, and you've turned your wounds into wisdom. Let it shine because, in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. So rise, healer. Rise, empath. Rise, chosen one. The world is not waiting for someone else. It's waiting for you. Your pain was your teacher. Your healing is your message. And your life, your beautiful, messy, sacred life, is the miracle we've all been waiting for.